Hello, and welcome to our last topic for the semester. Congratulations on making it through to the end. So today's topic is all about ethics. Let's get started. Our objectives are that by the end of this module, you should be able to understand what we mean by the term ethics. How do we apply ethics to investment portfolios? Make sure you can explain that and be able to explain how to apply ethics to financial advice that you're giving your clients. So what does it mean by ethics? If we just take a very simple approach, ethics is talking about our moral principles. But these are how we make decisions in day-to-day life. What is the right thing I should be doing right? What is the right thing I should do? If I'm choosing between these two choices, what's the correct thing to do? So we're talking about what's good for us as an individual and as a society. It's also described as a moral philosophy. So ethics helps us deal with these moral dilemmas that we have. How do we live a good life? What are our rights and responsibilities as a citizen? What is the language of right and wrong? And how do we make decisions? We make a decision morally, what's considered to be good and what's considered to be bad. Okay, so let's look at this situation. You and your friend have just started at uni. You're going to buy a copy of the textbook for yourself and your friend as they had to go on a week's training for work and they can't come with you. Your friend's given you $100 to cover the cost of the textbook and is currently selling in the bookshop for $80. Okay, what will you do? Tell me about it when we're in class next. Ethics and investment portfolios. You may have heard that you can choose, for example, in your superannuation fund, a socially responsible or an ethical investment choice. So responsible investment, that's the term that we use to describe an investment process which takes into account environmental, social, governance or ethical considerations. So environmental, social and governance, that's what they're talking about with ESG. So this is an extra layer put upon the standard investment selection process. Our standard selection process for investment looks at the risk and return, those kind of things. This is an extra consideration on top of that. So this involves including one or more practices in the research, analysis, selection and monitoring of the investment. So we'll screen it, or we'll look at the themes for our investment. We'll look at shareholder activism, engagement and advocacy. Is there environmental, social, governance awareness and focus? So add one of these elements into the choosing of your investments. And that gives us, hopefully, an ethical investment. So what are we talking about when we're talking about screening? The diagram's a bit simple. We've got the good and the bad. So usually, when we're doing the conventional investment process, screenings helping us picking out from all the choices the ones that are financially best. So we might look at the leverage metrics or the valuation ratios, and we've got what we think we want our investments to have financially, and we'll pick from those investments that way. But if we're considering to see if an investment is socially responsible, then we're going to be screening for what are their environmental practices in this business? What do they do for social? What about governance and ethical factors as well as the financial criteria? So negative screening, that's the term that we use where we're like, no, I definitely do not want to invest in those type of investments. So we're going to avoid investing. So perhaps you're strongly against perhaps arms manufacturer, so you won't buy shares in a company that does that. Positive screening means that you will include these. You'll look at them favorably because of what they're doing with the environment and social governance. So what kind of activities do you think clients want to screen out of their portfolio? So I've already said, for example, I wouldn't want to invest in a company that's making weapons. So that would be one. There are many. What can you think of? Make a list. And we'll have a look. You can pause, make a list, and then we'll have a check on the next slide. So here are some examples of investments that people may wish to avoid. Perhaps they wish to avoid tobacco, weapons, oil, coal seam gas, coal, old growth forest logging, exploitation, gambling, human rights abuses, and harmful products. So they're examples of investments that they would avoid. What about the opposite way? What about positive screening? What kind of activities do you think you would want to invest in if you were considering investing in a socially responsible type investment? What can you think of? Pause, see if you can write some things down, and then we'll check the next slide. So here's some examples of investments that you would opt in, you would positively screen them as in. So responsible banking, innovative technology, medical solutions, sustainable products, clean energy, healthcare, recycling, energy efficiency, education, and aged care. So sustainable investing is a philosophy, an investment philosophy, and we can apply it to a wide range of asset classes. We're still trying to seek out competitive risk-return characteristics. We don't want a dud portfolio. So we want it to be competitive with good risk-return characteristics that would be comparable with a traditional approach, but we also want to add in that level of having a positive effect on the environment and society and aligning the investors' portfolios with their goals and values. So this ESG theme approach identifies investment strategies that target specific environmental, social, or governance factors evident in global trends. This is becoming more and more popular, and you can see it's much easier now to invest in these kind of businesses. So this determines which industries and companies are best positioned to benefit from them and constructs portfolios that take into account such insights. Examples would be water management, climate change, access to education, healthcare. So investors can use investments in ESG themed equities to direct capital towards these type of things, to personally prioritize and whilst addressing the social environmental challenges outlined by the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Let's have a look at those. So go to this website and have a good look, and there's lots of interesting information here. So this is from the UN and their goals on sustainable development. So they've got goals here around no poverty, zero hunger, having good health and well-being. There are 17 goals they're aiming towards by 2030. If you go and have a look on the website, you can click on each and get more information. So they're looking for affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth. Oh, I missed the ones in the middle. Quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, life on the land, life below the water, climate action, peace, justice, and partnerships for the goals. Yes. So would these businesses make the cut? Would you be positively screening them in or not? What do you know about Woolworths, BHP, Tabcorp, Fortescue, Qantas, Invocare, Gucci, and Red Energy? Bingo. Let's discuss this in class when we meet.